We need some 2 Live Crew intro music.
I just I pulled up upbeat corporate instrumental on Spotify, and it sort of hits the mark. There's some good stuff on there if you want something behind your videos and stuff like that. Yeah. How are you, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Happy to be here. What do we got in store for today?
Have we got Neil here? If I can, mate, I'll get you up. If you can just request to speak, I'll get you up because I'll. This is probably your wheelhouse. I want to spend at least a few minutes on the limit orders on OMNIS if I can today. Let me see if I can bring you up.
Well, who do we got for speaker so far?
Oh, you're driving, are you?
No, I'm just trying to be a good co-host and introduce the people who are speaking while Neil
There we
comes
go.
up and we
There
get
we
into
go.
stuff.
We got Neil. We got Lit's in the house. How are you, brother?
Bro, how's everyone doing today?
Hey, how are you? I caught a little bit of your live stream yesterday.
Yeah, me and Hexmac and Coexist Steven, we went at it for like 5 hours just chopping it up about life and kind of podcast style. But we did get a little into crypto and yeah, there's some really exciting stuff, but I'd love to hear from everyone else. I feel like they're building really, really cool stuff. And let me know what's happening. I have some news, but I want to wait till Stu's all linked and everything.
Yeah. Oh, look, Stu may not be here, so I've just. I mean, the format of this is basically I just shoot out an invite, and I just tell all the founders, a cameo appearance is welcome, but it's not required. Here's the time. Here's the link. And there's
yeah. The quick intro is that TETRA Labs is launching the first coalition in DeFi, and essentially, like, you just have to link out with just a quick bullet point of who you are and what you want to bring, and just link with Stu and all his guys.
Perfect.
And they will take care of everything. And it's real broad right now, but it's just really exciting. And there it is.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. We should ideally we'll hear from Stu with a few more announcements over the next week. I was told, so you can look out for that. Nothing I can spill today, but there's a lot of interest that's been building up. I had no idea, but how much? But I'll let him get into that.
I got a question for Lit since we got him up here speaking real quick. I've noticed he's done a new series, right? Like on coaching. So yeah, in the past maybe 4 days, you've banged out like six episodes. So my question to you would be, can you give us a highlight of what you've learned or what's been on the show so far? What stands out most, Lit?
So coming back to DeFi, I decided the best thing I can do is add that element to my channel. So all the founders, all the devs, all the bros, I'm bringing them down and I'm just getting to the most core element of what life is and what we're here to do as men. And this is just what I've been doing for over 20 years. And I realized, you know what? If I help the creators really, really dig into like their purpose, we can create such fire in this community from each individual community and a part of one DeFi coalition moving in one direction with all of our different flags. And that excites me. That is like, oh my God, but it has to be held by the right container or else it all falls apart. So Stu and his team, he has
like a milk container,
the most incredible people. Say that again?
Like a milk container?
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's what it is. There's DeFi, right? And then there's all these communities. And what you have is TETRA Labs forming like Voltron at the top in an overarching ability where every single community can become a part of this coalition that will in the future have all the tools as well as automation. So it's just the seed is out and everyone's welcome, but all you have to do is just link with Stu or his team and just bullet point, not a big thing, just quick bullet point. And before you know it, there it is. We already have the first 4 founding members, and it's really exciting.
Okay, you've taken the Tetra Red Pill. Congratulations. I as well.
Exactly. Everyone will soon, because why sit in front of your computer and click when you can drag and drop?
100%. 100%. Hey, Neil.
Yeah. I mean, there's several tokens out there that have spreads like that trade, and it's just finding the right ones to jump in, and that's where you make your money if you just know what you're doing. And so just watching the price action, look at the trends, and you can really place these especially compound limit orders. I mean, I know y'all don't have them yet, but us in the testing room have them. We're using them, looking at it, and we're not being greedy. We're just taking advantage of these things as they come along, and make sure the functionality is working like it's supposed to, more than anything. But yeah, it's really going to change the game for people who just want to set one set of trades and walk away, and come back when they complete. You can start over again. And so I think it'll make people who like to trade more effective, without a doubt.
Yeah. So basically, for anyone that's not familiar, you can, or sorry, I should say, not familiar with usually setting limit orders. The power of it is you can basically set it below, say, let's say, for example, you want to accumulate more PLS or PLSX or whatever token that you want to accumulate, and you can set a percentage in OMNIS, how much below the current market price. If it spikes down and your order gets filled, you've just picked up, you bought the dip, basically, haven't you?
Exactly, and that's the thing. You have to have a plan first. Kind of, where do you want to be? Which token you want to accumulate? And a pair of tokens that you don't matter which one you end up with, it's a win-win again. Like Pulse or PulseX, those are the easiest pairs, because you can put high amounts of liquidity in your limit order and not push the price against yourself, versus other pairs that you may be limited to a couple $100. It depends on how much the pool is. You just got to watch those things. Those are the metrics you got to look at, and then volatility too. So the perfect thing is high liquidity, high trading volume, and high volatility. Those 3 things you can make money swing trading. If you lack one, you have to wait in time for, say, if you have fewer transactions or low volatility, you have to wait longer before the price moves. As long as you have a lot of liquidity, it means typically there's going to be a lot of action, because people can safely trade in and out of those pairs, typically. So it's just something people have to think about when they set these things. And then the whole slippage understanding of those 3 elements and how much slippage you set accordingly, that's something you have to just calculate and figure out on your own, because there's no magic bullet. It's a variable function of the data, and it's going to be a user interaction thing. So high risk, high volatility, high slippage. That's typically what you need to do.
Yeah. So basically, the lower liquidity, probably you might have to play with the slippage a little bit to get filled.
Yeah, because it's just, and then you got to be careful not to overdo your trade in the pool. So if you only have $100,000 in the pool, and you try to move 1,000, that's a big chunk statistically, and so you're going to push the price yourself, and you could end up moving against yourself if somebody is trading the same block. So those are the games people have just to realize. But I mean, we've learned that you can get a few more or a few less tokens depending on what happens in the block that your trade executes, especially with high volatility, and that's just something that people will just have to experiment with over time to really understand the ramifications of that.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
I've put in the chat here, I've put a link to Neil's video where he goes in depth on it, if anybody's interested.
Yeah, which is
Neil,
go ahead.
So limit orders are cool, right? But compound limit orders are even cooler. What's the word on that?
It's well, we talked about that. It's any day now. Stu can push it out the door. You're just waiting on Stu. So that's where we're at. It's just.
So if anyone's not speaking currently, Tide's about to step down, I think, and we'll get. Is
I
anyone waiting
wasn't
to
going
come
to
up to
step
speak?
down. I'm
All
happy to stay here, and answer any
Yeah.
questions, but more just give someone else the time
Oh,
to
sorry.
chat if they wanted to.
No, that's okay. I got no pending request for speakers, so that's fine. Sorry, I had someone that was waiting for a little bit.
Yep. Hi, appreciate being here.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. There are a lot of familiar faces here, or logos. My name is Daniel. People know me as Jukin Writer. I'm speaking for TruDeFi.
Oh, welcome. Sorry, I didn't realize who you were because the TruDeFi.io logo. Sorry, welcome, man. Yeah.
Hi. I'd like to share a point of view. When we are talking about DeFi, when we are talking about crypto in general, about adoption, I compare this to a very good diet, right? With a very good diet, we wanna. It has to be delicious.
Yeah.
It has to be easy to prepare it, right? It shouldn't be complicated. And it has to be fun. That means we also have to have the community when we are eating, right? We want to sit with good people, right? And maybe with more and more people, so everyone can eat. And that was the initial approach. Maybe I can talk a little bit about TruDeFi's project, what
Absolutely,
we are doing.
man. Yeah,
Cool,
bring it
thanks.
on. Anyone that doesn't know would be wanting to hear about this. I've gone into some of the detail and I'm getting a little bit excited. Not to hype anything, but if you'd like to explain exactly what you've done with, I'll give you some background on me, just because we haven't really spoken directly before. I was around in the Tron days with T2X, BNB chain. You know, we've obviously seen other similar contracts, but I'd love to first start with how it's designed to work, just generally, and then some of the things that you've done to improve on it.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's worth it to share it. Definitely, people will like it because it is delicious. It's easy and fun. I was looking actually back to the days on Tron. I was looking in the whole history of all the dApps, of all the games, what had the most sympathy, where people really flocked in, and where people made money on an easy way, at least at the beginning. So. And that was definitely P2X. I don't know if people know about that. That was that idea actually came from, for everyone else. Do you guys remember how Hex came into life? Basically, to make it short, people could transform their Ethereum. They went into an auction lobby. They deposited Ethereum, and then there was a certain amount of hex that they could transform or claim for the Ethereum they got on the next day. And then the question was, where did all the ETH go? Right? We even have a meme token about that. And so the answer is, it went to an African priest. So now, definitely, it was a situation that we have now a second token. That doesn't matter if it's called Hex. I like Hex. I'm a Hex holder, but it's still a second token. It is a different token if we are going in an auction lobby and buying any other token out there. Doesn't matter if it's called T2X, Titan X, whatever. And we always have the same situation that we have inflation. And we have this problem that we depend on adoption, or a benevolent whale who's buying, or whatever. But we are always dealing with a risk. And that is a second token, because what we want is either we want to have more dollar value or we want to have more Bitcoin value. But we want to have more value, stable 100%. Value. And you see that this is why most diets don't work, because people mess up priorities. And so I thought, why don't we make it very simple and eliminate all, or try to find all the problems that are connected to the failure of these programs, be it adoption, be it inflation, dilution, be it the dependence on benevolent whales, or all of that. So I came up with a concept that was basically sound, to not depend on it. And then I approached Benjamin as an advisor, Benjamin and Neil. They advised us, our team, and they gave us some suggestions and solutions to it based on the construct. That was phenomenal, because now we are entering not only a sustainable situation, but actually what we wanted to do, or what I wanted to do, is the last person in a game should never bite the dust. Never. So they should always get their money back. There should no victim along the way. How can we do this in DeFi? And the solution that we all together came up with guarantees that no one bites the dust. But if the program is adopted, and if the program is accepted by the community, it will turn into a very profitable situation for the participants. And so basically we came up with a P2X, that is an auction house where people can go with their PLS into the auction and participate. They can share, they're basically competing for 1 million P2X shares per day. And the next day they cannot claim it to their wallet because there is no token. P2X will only be shares on the platform. There cannot be any inflation on the market. So now they can put it in a mining contract. Every day's participants who participate in that auction lobby, the main part of it is distributed to all active miners. And a part of it is going to be added to a yield producing bag. And we are not talking about inflationary yield. We are not talking about a yield that depends on a benevolent whale, but really on service fees on pulsechain or in the DeFi space. So we are earning money, and that money is participating in the auction lobby as well as an active participant. And every day that bag grows and grows and puts more money and more yield back into the auction lobby as a participant. But now imagine that participant doesn't participate in the mining process. So basically, to make it short, so what you want to avoid is a situation where when you have a lower volume over time in a program, that someone bites the dust. So, and before looking at the consequences of a reduced deposit volume, we can assume to have a stronger deposit volume first. So from each day, 14% in the P2X model, 14% of deposit volume goes to a yield producing bag, basically added every day. So it's not hard to imagine that this bag receives a significant amount, even in a shorter period of time. All right. So, and the yield produced with this bag comes back to the system, partially to so-called bonus bag. That means, right, it's a feature of the program, but mainly it goes back into the auction house as a deposit. So the consequence from fewer participants over time, what will happen probably is that
are you going to use TETRA to generate that yield, or?
Yes, of course. That's a key part. I think it's very hard to do this without TETRA. It has to be done at the beginning manually, but TETRA will be a key factor. And we hope that we can go along with TETRA to all chains where they are planning to expand, and that we can showcase actually how TETRA works, how beneficial it can be for every chain, for every program. And I think we are an excellent showcase actually for them. Just to make it short, there are details. If you get in contact with us, whoever gets in contact, they will easily understand that no one bites the dust. We are talking about real 2xing. 2x your PLS, not in value, has nothing to do with inflation. There's nothing along this way. All this unnecessary fat is cut out. We are dealing with a lean program that just is delicious, makes fun, and over time we're gonna have a very large community that we're eating together.
Nice. So basically, PLS goes in, all the magic happens, the magic meal happens as you describe it, and then over a period of time, there's no set time, depending on how the protocol goes, the demand and things like those factors, you get double your PLS out.
Yes.
PLS in, PLS out.
Nice.
You guys know how You guys know how I like fire roasted chicken, right? It's kind of like you have this golden hen and you set her up and there's just one egg and all of a sudden you come back in a little bit and you're like, "Hey, there's two eggs. What the heck?"
I mean, imagine, right? When we are looking at the whole space, when we are looking at real reliable programs, programs that we are calling sustainable, okay, that everyone agrees on, okay?
Yeah.
How much APR or APY do you really have there? Wouldn't it be good to do it once a year, 2x? And
That'd be
maybe
awesome.
we can even do this several times a year. And
Yeah.
sometimes it might only be once a year. Maybe we have to imagine the mechanism will be elastic. So at the beginning, of course, people who join in the beginning, they make most probably several times 2x a year. People who join a little
Yeah.
bit later, they maybe in a half year, it can be possible to have it only once or twice a year. But then later, the yield that we are producing is such a big participant in the whole program because it will circulate with itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is there is an automation that the program is playing with itself and borrowing with by itself. So whoever joins at a later stage will have similar situations like at the beginning. So there is a positive yo-yo. And this is actually where we are very happy that we can bring that food to the table. Yeah.
Perfect. That was well explained. Can I say, Donald, have you got something to add, or you got any questions for P2X?
Yeah, well, I just had a question and a comment. I was just wondering, is your protocol up and running right now that we can actually see it and test it?
Not yet. What we do is we are waiting for the feedback from the auditors because
Okay.
we think it's better to wait for an audit. We wanted to launch first and to stimulate the market with audits afterwards. We don't do this.
Any test
we
net?
see
Okay.
it takes maybe 2 or 3 weeks from here. You're waiting. I am waiting. We all are waiting. We all know that
Yeah.
meme. So I hope
Just-
2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and we should be out. All right.
It's funny because, like, you know, I'm used to the T2X protocol. People might be used to Avarice and things like that on Binance chain. So listening to what you're saying, you know, I already sort of know how it sort of operates. The connection between how the auction phase for Hex, that totally made sense, and then some of the mechanisms. But basically, PLS in, the mechanism happens, PLS out. And when you say you're going to do mainnet, that you mean private mainnet, and then before launch, is that right?
No, we're gonna launch directly. We of course we are testing first on private host. We are testing on a test net, of course, but that's what only a small group does, and then we're gonna launch directly on pulsechain.
Okay, so just so I clarify, I understand. So it's a private test net, so you're not just launching straight onto mainnet. So that'll all be done. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things with TruDeFi is when I was understanding it, I talked to Neil for T-Shares, and it is such an exciting system. There's few things I get as excited about as pulsechain itself, but what Stu's doing and what TruDeFi is doing, like, I actually, once you understand the nuts and bolts of how it works, it's out of control exciting. So I really appreciate talking to you guys about it. And Neil, do you want to add anything? Like, it's such a cool system.
Well, yeah, I mean, TruDeFi came up out of building P2X out, and when we realized what we had with P2X and the possibilities, we said, well, you know, this is just tools and services we can build. What if we extended our reach and our and our helping hand to other communities or other developers who come up with good ideas, but they don't necessarily have maybe enough devs, enough marketing, funding issues, or just need some good ideas. And so we decided to put TruDeFi together just to kind of be that. And it just so happens TETRA Labs was on the same path, just slightly different, that it's kind of the overarching umbrella we're all sitting under and showcasing the power of the tools Tetra builds. And then we're going to be like the, I guess, the hands and feet, so to speak, putting the technology to work and helping communities by linking up and providing the services and the marketing and all the things that we can provide to the community. So somebody has an idea, they come to us, we say, well, we can help you. Where you at? And then we work out a deal and provide what they need to finish out, get the product to market, have it marketed right, and then they can. We know that if we're involved, there'd be a quality project, it won't rug or anything like that. It gets audited and it meets all the criteria. So we can all rest assured that things that come through us will be quality projects that we can all use safely, enjoy in the DeFi space.
Also, yep. Neil, you with relation to P2X, in the previous versions on other chains that it's inspired by, it's a different animal today compared to those contracts, because I personally found on Tron, for example, you go in heavy at the start, and there was a tremendous advantage for people that got in really, really hard with a lot of money up front, and they'd ROI within, sometimes 3 days, 5 days. And then all the YouTube videos would come out, and the hype is real with the project, because it's a game, really. But could you talk a little bit as to, I think you've placed in there some sort of a mechanism where that doesn't feature so heavily?
Yeah. So reason it's P2X is all you can do, unless for a few small circumstances, you can only 2x your ROI. And that's it. That's your cap. And once you 2x, you get flushed from the system and you're no longer participating. So that's one of the mechanisms that was brought to bear to solve some of the problems with people just sitting in and soaking up all the money coming in each and every day. You get your 2x and you get out. We put limits on how many pulse can be in any given miner, which is what is getting the pulse from the system. And then, which is around 55 million and some change, 5555555 pulse, right? That's what it is. So that's your cap per miner. Now you can have as many miners as you want, but if you have billions of pulse, you want to do this, it's going to take you a lot of clicking. So this kind of discourages whales from just single click dumping and trying to mess everything up. And on top of that, we're capping how much pulse can enter in any given day. So you can't have somebody dropping in 100 billion pulse and messing it up for everybody, right? That's not going to happen. So those are the mechanisms that keep the game more, I guess, equitable as much as you possibly can with any of these type of games. But at the same time, like Dan said earlier, it's also backed by real yield coming from DeFi tools and services like Barista, for instance, and stuff like that, using to bring money back into the game to help strengthen and shorten ROI for everybody participating. Yeah.
So you can basically throttle the incoming PLS to be more equitable for everyone else that's participating in the system. That's awesome.
The game aspect of it, when you get to a 1.5x, can you talk about that in the yield bag?
Oh yeah. So we have an incentive program with the whole point of the game is you want people in and out as fast as you can, right? That keeps the ROI as short as possible. When we know some people will manually get out at less than a 2x, we know that it happens. But when people hit a 1.5x, we're going to offer them an incentive. At that point in time, there'll be this bonus bag option they can mine from. And then it offers just whatever of that day's availability in it to be mined, and they can take it and leave if they choose to take it. May put them at a 1.6x or 1.7, who knows? Maybe even a 2.1 or 2.2. We have no idea. That's an unknown thing based upon time and participation and how much yield is being produced by the benevolent wallet. So this is another mechanism we have to try to get people out sooner to let the ROI shorten up for everybody else. So that's just one extra mechanism we invented to kind of incentivize people who do participate to leave sooner.
Yep. I'd like to add something to that. First, we are very privileged to work with Benjamin, with Neil as very close advisors to the program. That's very essential, actually, because the tokenomics is sound. The program works. Nobody will bite the dust ever. that's easy to understand once someone looks at a program. So everyone will make their 2x eventually. And you're right, the first week is actually not to beat. Nothing beats the participation of the first day or of the first week. That time will never come back, but we are looking actually at a situation. How can we make sure that someone in a half year, in 1 year, in 2 years will have the same possibility, at least once or twice, or maybe more times a year? And this is where the work starts. The work actually and the focus needs to be for us on the board. How can we generate reliably real DeFi yield outside of the program that we funnel back? This is the key. So this is actually where people should ask very critical questions, where they should look at our fingers, where they should see if the team is capable. And with people like Benjamin, Neil, with people who are talking positively about it, like Lit and others, this is actually a blessed situation where we can say, yeah, we are confident that this crucial key factor can be met actually with a success, because this is actually what the program depends on, that we really achieve. Imagine, it's not if you're having $1,000, it's easy to make 10% a day, right? If you have $10 million in a yield producing bag, it's not that easy. How can you make 1% a day with 10 million on a small chain like pulsechain?
Yeah, exactly.
You have slippage. You have, all right. So this is where you need the most competent minds together, and technology like TETRA, technology that we can automate certain processes to optimize everything, that exactly the yield is coming to the program. This is actually the key factor. The rest is easy to understand for everyone who looks into it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I feel like this is a protocol that's going to set a precedence. When this piece goes into play, essentially you're taking a large bag, you're funneling it down, you're stacking them up, you're only allowing certain amounts in the system at a time, you're adding yield, and at a certain point it 2x's. Then you spit it out. When this framework is dialed in and TETRA Labs comes in to automate it, this is the future of the coalition. Everyone's project's going to be able to tap into all the other projects, and what we do is we create this super force of projects like this through automation and DeFi. This is one of the coolest things. If you can put a little bag in and double it stably, just imagine that world. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. If I can, Neil, if I can throw to you, is there anything that I mean, obviously you're getting a volume of protocols approaching TETRA Labs. Is there any sort of things that you can talk about at this current stage or not, where you're finding good ways of improving and making contracts safer? And what's been the response? What's been the response from the devs? Are you finding mainly positive?
Yeah, I think as people approach us and ask us questions for help and stuff and ideas, I think a lot of when we find out, people with, like, I have this idea and I have a dev I'm working with, but not every dev is a visionary or thinker. He's a dev. He's a code guy. He's on the code line by line. He's not thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I know if you've ever built stuff or worked with guys who are like that, they're just very single focused. They can produce the work. You tell them what to do, they do it, and they don't really think about how to solve the problem in the overall design. And you have a guy who's an idea, but he may not understand how all the DeFi works, all the blockchain works, or ways you can improve. So it's really, we find that people really need a depth of knowledge to understand what's available on the blockchain in general, on a technological sense. Like what is the blockchain capable of at this point in time? What can we employ to make our idea better? And there's all kind of stuff comes out every day, so it's a constant for us. We're always learning every day about new stuff. I mean, we just had the 404 NFT thing be just a big launch thing. Everybody's now jump on the bandwagon. Well, we had somebody come ask us about 404 stuff. What can we do to help? And obviously, automation solves a lot of problems for most contracts and how people consider the doing stuff, especially if you're trying to build something that
Yeah.
repurposes funds from point A to point B, and you want to reward your customers. That you don't want to
Yeah.
do that manually. It's a pain to do it, and it's not
Yeah,
even
no.
safe to even hard code that, because if you hard code it, then you're relying on wherever you're getting the yield from to exist in a year from now. And what if it doesn't? What if you try to
That's true.
you hard code a farm and a farm's turned off? I mean, then you're
Yeah.
screwed. And
Well,
so
they
you
go
don't
from
want that.
Yeah, because people change from V1 liquidity to V1 to V2 to V3. Like we're all
All kinds
going
of
to
stuff.
end. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So true. Migrations.
Yeah, and so what you want to do is be able to have things like Tetra can be nimble enough. Like, oh, if that one drops, you just go in there and change the Tetra point of where you're putting your liquidity, move it over to this other one, and it still works. So it's not to be hard coded, and that's one of the things that Tetra can solve for a lot of people is things like that. And so, with that being said, and then really marketing is another thing that a lot of these guys come up to us like, well, we have an idea, but we have no idea how to get it to the people. Well, we can help with that too, and that's where we have Lit. And his team, and that's going to be the marketing power we'll use to get the word out, among other things, right? And so once we get going, we'll have a budget for marketing, and we'll have budgets for hiring other devs, and we have contacts between the Tetra Labs and all the resources we have at Tetra, and outside of Tetra, we have independent contractors who all they do is dev work that they work with, like SparkSwap and others. We just know these people, and they're willing to work with us, and we'll pay them to work. I mean, it's just that simple. And this is a business, and you got to treat it as a business, and that's how we're looking at this whole thing. If you want good quality products and services to be brought to market, you need to do it the right way, and you need to do it like a business would, and not just a bunch of guys in their pajamas sitting in their mama's basement coding stuff out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And fluffy slippers.
Right, fluffy slippers. But that's how me and Stu both own businesses and have. And run things. We're both architects, and we're almost the same person. We just took two different career paths in our focus. It's kind of ironic how we met and get along so well. But so we run it the same way. It's the same mindset. We have the same purpose, and that's what we're trying to do with TruDeFi, and then TETRA Labs 2 as being like a showcase for all the things that you can build on top of with Tetra. Because Tetra's got to be agnostic, so we can't like favor anybody, but we can say, hey, look, these people use these tools. You can see what they've done, and here's the tools, and TruDeFi can help you and educate you how to use the Tetra tools when they become available to the market as well.
100%. So if you've got a really good idea, and you'd like to talk, or you've got a protocol that you've got halfway done or fully done, and you don't have any sort of marketing prowess, you could basically talk to someone like yourself and TETRA Labs and just start a conversation, and it's an open door where you can nut out exactly how it's going to work, how it's not going to work, and get all the nuts and bolts together. Yeah. Okay.
And I want to say this, it's really no different than what Stu and his team has already been doing, right? I've got to give a lot of gratitude and respect to Stu, right? He's put some really good men and women around him who truly want to help other people. And behind the scenes, he's been having those conversations, and we've been having those conversations. Hence what Barista said, hence what all these other people have been saying. So, when Stratus and Atlas come online soon, and when you're able to do all these automations, it really is going to be some powerful tools for pulsechain. And the people around Stu really want to help other people be successful, because when they're successful, Tetra is going to be more successful. And I know we've been saying that, but you got to have people that you can trust, right? Like people who aren't going to screw you over, or people who are accepted in the community, right? And I think Stu and his team I think they've proven that. And with this TETRA Labs, just imagine the power of people coming into TETRA Labs, and it's vetted by him and his team. That's going to automatically give people some juice when they come in. Now, hence TETRA's agnostic and they don't, they can't vouch for any particular protocol, but there is this sense of community, right? What we're building here. And I think TETRA really is going to be a powerful tool that when we look back from a year from now and we see everything that's taken place in all directions, it will probably be one of the centerpieces, just the way that how big of automation is and the power of it. Like this TruDeFi or this P2X thing, right? That protocol's because of the automation and Daniel, taking some counsel with myself and Neil, like we really changed his protocol and made it something very special, right? So you got to have the right minds and you got to have people that are open. You got to have people that you can trust. So I'm happy to be a part of this, and really all the gratitude and all the hard work goes to Stu for putting the right people around him and, doing everything organically. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.